He's 40 feet away near the timeline. Now Jimmer sizing up Moss. Oh, no. Oh, yes! Oh, yes! A 30-footer for Jimmer.
Oh, no. Oh, yes. Jimmer Range is back. The college basketball season is over, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop talking about it. I'm Carl Heiser, joined, as always, by my co-host, Alex Cervantes. We are also joined by Greg Waddell on his second appearance on the show. It's with Sleepers Media, Field of 68. And if college basketball teams were stocks, he would be a millionaire from shorting Purdue. Greg, how you doing today?
I'm great. I mean, that's a hell of an intro. I'm not going to lie. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to having my second appearance here. I feel like a veteran now. I felt like a rookie the first time on the show, but a long-time listener, first-time caller, all that. I'm a second-time caller today. I feel pretty good.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So, yeah, we haven't said a single word about the Final Four or the national championship. The last piece of content we put out was our Final Four preview. So UConn, they won the national championship, fifth one in program history. Greg, it's good to have you here because you were there, so you better understand kind of the vibes of the whole situation. So give us the vibe check. What was it like being at the Final Four, and how did it feel being at the national championship?
So it was great. I mean, just being at a spectacle like that is always fun. And I've gone, long before I was in the media game, I'd been to probably 3 Final Fours just as a fan. I can tell you, this was my second as a quote unquote credentialed media member that Field of 68 was, bringing me there to do work. And it's just different when you're there up close and personal. You just see so much that you don't have access to if you're just in the stands. But from the 2 that I've been to now in back-to-back years, not bullshitting, not just to say this, this year was a very flat Final Four compared to the year before it. And I don't know if that'll feel the same going forward years from now, but to go from the blue blood Final Four and a Kansas, North Carolina final to what we had this year was just a very stark contrast. And I want to also be clear, because I feel like I got some shit from people on Twitter when I was like, we don't have to pretend this is good for the sport.
I was going to bring that up next.
So I want to be really clear. I don't care if these teams are blue bloods or not at all. That's not my angle here. I don't want brands that are cool brands. I just want good basketball teams. And I will adamantly say, from seeing it up close and personal, I still don't believe San Diego State's a very good basketball team. I think they're 20th best team in the country. Can they beat anybody any given day? Absolutely. But the national title game, 100% just felt like we were watching the best team in the country beat up on the 26th best team in the country. And that's not how a title game should feel, So I don't know. That was my up close and personal take. I wish we had a little more thrill to it. Obviously, we got the buzzer beater the round before, which was awesome. But I'll be looking forward to next year. Hopefully, we get 4 of the top 10 to 15 best teams in the country, because I think we were missing that this year.
Yeah, that would be good. I think this year definitely delivered as far as it was a chaotic year. A lot of weird stuff happened. So then we get a Final Four where weird stuff happened. But yeah, I understand. Watching that San Diego State offense was one of the least fun viewing experiences I've had all season. And I watched one too many Wisconsin basketball games. So yeah, just not the best. I don't know. Alex, do you have thoughts on this?
No, I'd agree. I don't know. It's always fun. I think maybe it was Tate Frazier that tweeted it after the first round, but it's always fun to have the Cinderella stories. But if you're not a good Cinderella, do everyone a favor and lose by the Sweet 16. And the issue was this year is that I was really happy Dusty May and Florida Atlantic got there and they were a great team. And this isn't to spite them, but that kind of bundling of San Diego State mucked it up with Bama and then wins in the Elite Eight to make it. FAU doesn't Tennessee throttles Duke, so they don't have to play a red hot Duke team.
Literally throttles them,
yeah,
basically grabbed them around the throat on every single defensive possession.
And then Miami, and Miami doesn't have to play Texas with Disu. So I don't know. It was a little lackluster, but at some point when you're coming off the storyline of all storylines the previous year, I think it was going to be tough to kind of reach that same height this year. So maybe we're destined for a setback anyway.
I will say, like, I feel totally different about this Final Four if, like, Kansas State was in it. Like, they almost were in it. Like, if it's just Kansas State and UConn and San Diego State and Miami, like, I'm not complaining at all.
Okay.
I just think, like, and Florida Atlantic was very good. I wish the final was UConn Florida Atlantic. I think Florida Atlantic would have given them a game. I still don't know how Florida Atlantic lost to San Diego State, to be honest with you. Like, I sat there and watched it. I thought they were clearly the better team. And I guess credit to San Diego State that they were able to win multiple games like that where they were not the better team and they found a way to do it. But I don't know. It just, like, there was just never a sense of being in the building of, like, these are some of the best teams in the sport. It was much more of, like, how the hell did these guys get here? And ultimately, like, UConn was the one team that you were like, oh, obviously they're really good. And in the end, like, I mean, they had no trouble whatsoever. Like, there was not even 5 minutes in the Final Four where it was in doubt that they were going to win either of those games. So I think that's good. Like, looking back on it, we're going to think UConn is, like, one of the best title winners in a while. I just wish, like, they had been tested a little more along the way than they were.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, to your point about Kansas State, like, it was Marquise Noel's tournament, and I would have much rather wanted to see Marquise Noel and Keontae Johnson in a Final Four, potentially playing for a national championship, than Florida Atlantic, I'm never going to take anything away from them. That was a very good team. Dusty May did a great job, but there wasn't really anything that stood out to me about that team. Like, Janelle Davis, yeah, fine, he's good. Elijah Martin, sure. Golden, whatever. But, I mean, it's Marquise Noel. Like, that, everything he did was electric, whether good or bad. He was either, throwing no-look passes to Keontae Johnson for the oop, like, fitting the ball through windows that seemed absolutely impossible, especially for a guy that's 5'7", or he was just airballing threes from the logo. Like, every single thing this guy did was absolutely electric, and I wanted to see more of it. But I don't know. It is what it is. Here we are in the off season. Actually, Greg, I'm going to need another vibe check from you. You have it as your headline. Caleb Love is your shooting guard. How are we feeling about it? Excited? Nervous?
My initial thought is like, just for lack of a better word, guys. I mean, listen, I've spent so much time. You guys know me. Like, I've spent so much time thinking and just digesting this over the last 3 weeks that it's probably a good thing you brought me on now and not like 10 days ago, because I would have had very different thoughts. But I think, like, just to frame this, like, as a Michigan basketball fan, if you had told me the day in the United Center, right? Alex was there. We're in the United Center, and Michigan loses to Rutgers.
Yes.
At that point, they still had, like, vague NCAA tournament hopes. Like, if you were to tell me the day they lost to Rutgers and their season ended that next year's Michigan team would be 100% dependent on Caleb Love, I would have melted into a puddle, and you wouldn't have even ever seen me again. Like, it's such an absurd concept that that's where a team that had Kobe Buffkin and Hunter Dickinson was headed a year from now. And, like, listen, it's hard for me because I get it's this era where everybody has decisions to make, and there's NIL, there's transfers, all this shit. But, like, I'm sitting here watching my in-state rival Michigan State bring Tyson Walker and Malik Hall back to a team that has a top 5 recruiting class in the country. And, like, Michigan's bringing in one dude in a class next year and, like, lost everyone that's a fringe first-round pick from an NIT team. Like, it's crazy the amount of attrition they're having. And in light of that, like, they have to take this risk because, listen, they're not going to get Max Asmus. They're not going to get LJ Cryer. They're Michigan. Like, there are institutional issues that will prevent them from getting the best dudes in the portal. Mm-hmm. So, like, from that sense, Caleb Love is basically the highest upside option you're going to get because you have to take a risk on dude that other programs wouldn't. And whatever you want to say about Caleb Love, I'm a huge critic of his. I don't think this is going to work. Like, there is a world where this works, and he is one of the more talented guards in the Big Ten. So I get why they did it. I think they had to do it. As a fan, I'm not excited about it at all because I hate Caleb Love. I don't want to pretend I like Caleb Love for a year, but my entire season depends on that now. So here we are, boys.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there you go.
It's crazy, right? Like, it's crazy to actually, like Carl, you're probably going through this too. Like, you might get Hunter Dickinson. And, like,
I'm gonna have to take so many things back if we get Hunter Dickinson.
Right. It's like what, and that's just the world us college basketball fans have to live in now. Is like, my greatest rival's best player could transfer to me and be like my entire season, and I have to be okay with that now. It's absurd. But yeah, I as far as Michigan goes, man, like I actually think Juwan's doing a really good job in the portal outside of Caleb Love. Like they might get Olivier Kamwa. I like Namari Burnett. Like he's building an entire rotation from pretty highly ranked caliber dudes, while like Illinois is racking up mid-major transfers right now. Like I like where I'm at compared to that. That's a good spot.
Yeah, and I mean the thing with
they shall have transfers.
Hey, listen, I'd rather have Boo Booey and Chase Audige than I would.
No. Yes, but like a little bit, just like a little Northwestern rant here. It's like we sold our soul to the devil to get this past season, and like, and listen, I get like Northwestern is plagued by some similar institutional problems that Michigan is. Like Northwestern, you can only take sophomore and grad transfers. The university's archaic 1970s policy regarding transfers because of some kids that like got into the school on a whim because of like one semester are now prohibiting like any school within any athletic program from acquiring any semblance of portal talent. But like it's just wild. Like you talked about Illinois. Like I would kill for some mid-major transfers. Like it just feels like every herd from Northwestern is cutting Northwestern immediately. But yeah, I don't know. Boo and Chase are probably coming back, which is great. I just don't know. Like I'd like to see some progress, not just like a general, we're just going to try and run it back, because that historically has not gone well.
Yeah.
I mean, this era of the transfer portal is just putting everyone in such an uncomfortable spot. Like if Hunter transfers to Maryland, my brain is going to be just completely broken. It's going to be mush. I'm not going to know what to do. He's taken every single opportunity he could to say negative things about the Maryland program, to troll us at every single turn. And then there's a possibility that he's going to be in a Terrapin jersey next year, and I'm going to have to root for him. And I will root for him. Like given the opportunity to add an All-American to the roster, I will happily do it. I will throw any type of NIL bag his way. I will send anybody out the door if that's what it takes. Because we are currently over the scholarship limit, so that's going to have to happen anyway. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's going to be weird. But Greg, as a fan, I can see how the Caleb Love thing is maybe not your favorite, but as a content guy, I mean, it's going to be legendary. It's going to be insane.
Oh, it's fantastic. I made this joke the other day, but like now that Michigan has made it clear, like screw the locker room, we don't care about how toxic these individual people are. We just want talent, even if the talent means bad basketball. They might as well, like Amani Bates is not declared for the draft, and Michigan has more NIL to give. So like Amani wanted to come to Michigan last year. Get that man on speed dial, call up Bates Fundamentals, tell him you'll get him on the first bus from Ypsilanti to Ann Arbor. And then if we got Caleb Love and Amani Bates in the fold, you better get that text back to Hunter Dickinson, man. Hit him with the "you up" and the emoji. Because listen, and Hunter has lots of options, clearly, as you know, right now, Carl. I still don't think there's anything on earth Hunter Dickinson cares more about than just being the biggest villain he can possibly be. So, like, if he could play next to Caleb Love and Amani Bates, like, you are officially team asshole if that happens. And Hunter would thrive in that setting. It'll be fascinating, man. Let me ask you this. Do you think you're getting Hunter Dickinson?
I honestly don't think that we are. No, I don't think so. I just think from like a roster standpoint, it doesn't make like a whole lot of sense right now, because Kevin Willard would essentially be saying screw you to Juju Reese, or moving Hunter to the 4, which is just weird. We already have to have like guys transfer out. Like I think if he's going anywhere in the DMV, because that's where he's from, he's going to Georgetown if he goes anywhere in the DMV. But I mean, a return to Michigan's possible. Kansas, Kentucky could throw him a bag. So
yeah,
we'll see. I don't really think we're going to get him, but even just the mental process of like the possibility that we might get this guy is sending me spiraling. I don't really know what to do.
For sure. And that's what Hunter wants too. Like
Yes.
Hunter, that's
Yes.
the wild part is like in all of this, Hunter's just like sitting back, like taking his quote unquote social media break for the first time in his 21-year-old life. Like just twiddling his thumbs, knowing he's like making Maryland fans just sweat about the thought of possibly rooting for him. Illinois fans too, like he's antagonized everybody, and everybody's like, "Oh, maybe we would take that guy now." I think it's funny, but I still think he ends up in a blue blood. I don't know which one. I know Kansas is like full court pressing him right now.
Yeah.
Duke and Kentucky have called him. With Filipowski back, you probably don't need him at Duke anymore. But I don't know. I like the DMV thing's one thing. I'd be shocked if he went anywhere in between the Big Ten. I think like Georgetown, to me, like Georgetown doesn't have a good enough roster. Like even if he likes Ed Cooley, like why would Hunter leave even a mediocre Michigan roster for like Jaden Epps? Like it makes
Rowan Brumbaugh, yeah.
It makes zero sense to me. So we'll see. Well, I still think it's like Kansas at the end of the day.
Yeah. But that's such a good point that I never really thought of is that this is like the final trump card he can play is like dangling it in front of our faces. Like, oh, I might come to your school. Like I'm going to be on campus this weekend. Then he's just not going to come. He's going to stay in the Big Ten. He's going to probably go back to Michigan, and then we're going to have to deal with him all over again.
Legacy, if he comes back to Michigan, it's the most complicated legacy ever, man. Because like I already said last year, people soured on him. That was like objectively true. But like if he comes back, like I don't even think the majority of the fan base is going to welcome him back. We're just like, well, I guess we'll take him back. But like, and that's crazy because I don't know. I'm sure you guys realize this. He's such a good player. Like it's absurd that we're talking about a college basketball player as talented as Hunter Dickinson is, and being like, like I don't know, like that's how I feel. Like I'm gonna like roll my eyes if Hunter Dickinson back in a Michigan uniform.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, he was a consensus All-American as a freshman, and has gotten better since then. Like he shot 42% from three last year. It's insane. But like from a brand standpoint, going back to Michigan would be huge because his whole Mark Turgeon hate era is like kind of losing steam because Mark Turgeon, not around anymore. So what he can do now though is visit Maryland and then not go there and then say Kevin Willard didn't recruit me hard enough. Like, and the beef is back on. So we'll see where this goes. I don't know. I'll take him, but I'm not getting my hopes up. So
future Northwestern Wildcat, put him next to Matthew Nicholson.
There you go. All right, so we're gonna get to the main part of the show. We have Greg back on to grade our preseason hot takes. Alex has the spreadsheet pulled up with all of our hot takes. I don't even remember probably over half of the ones that I had. So we're going to go through, we're going to grade them. We're going to hold ourselves accountable. We're going to make excuses for ourselves. It's going to be a good time. So Alex, you want to take this away?
Where do you want to start? Or do you want me to go in order, I guess?
Just go in order. It doesn't really matter.
So starting out east in the ACC, I'll start with Greg's take. Someone not named UNC makes the Final Four. Bingo. That's an A+ right there.
I mean, that's a win, boys. Like, I don't know how else to phrase it. That's just a win.
That's a major W. Yeah, so clarification on these, obviously, and this is kind of the way we did it last year. So obviously, every take is either going to be right or wrong. But that's just not how the grading is going to work because
there are varying degrees of wrongness.
Yes, we grade on the A to F scale, and we factor in the process. So if there was a good reason at some point in the year to believe that this was going to happen, we take that into account. But Greg, starting out with an A+, it's good stuff.
I mean, I'm very happy with that, gentlemen. I got to be honest. I did not expect to hear one win. I don't remember any of my takes beyond this. So we'll take that. We'll run with it. And at the very least, I get a gold star.
Absolutely. All right, moving to Carl. He had Georgia Tech wins less than 3 games in conference play.
That did not happen.
It did not. They won 6.
They were way better than expected. I don't know about way better, but they're definitely better than expected. I thought they were just going to be flat out terrible. But honestly, that's more of a commentary, I think, on the state of the ACC than it is on Georgia Tech. Like, the ACC wasn't good enough to beat Georgia Tech that many times. So I don't really know if that's – I don't know if that was a bad take. Like, Georgia Tech still wasn't very good. But I'll be at your mercy for this one. I mean, I'm not – I don't know.
I don't know. They did double that mark you said.
So that's probably like a D. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I think that's fair. I don't want to belabor Georgia Tech much further.
Yeah. This is the most anyone's talked about them all year. So
what's our scale here, boys? Like, are we going 1 to 10? Are we going like 1 to 5 star? What's the rating scale?
So it's just A to F, like normal grading scale. Yeah.
Classic school grading scale.
Indeed. Yeah. And then I don't know if we actually went through and figured out what our GPA was last year, but
that's
maybe
a good
we'll
one.
do that this
we
year.
We can run that this year.
GPA
True
is.
academia.
I'll give you a solid C, Carl.
Okay.
That. I think that's a solid. Like the intent was correct. you had no way of knowing how horrible the ACC would be.
Okay, so we're going like C minus.
C minus. Yeah. Let's keep it moving.
Okay. I had no Duke player makes all ACC first team, and I want to say I was correct. Kyle Filipowski was the leading vote getter for all ACC second team. He finished behind Jamarius Burton.
Filipowski wasn't first team?
Nope.
He was low-key snubbed for first team, honestly.
He was snubbed for first team.
He was most definitely a top 5 player in that league.
He carried the team for half the season.
He did. People would say that. The Duke social media team let people know after the fact. Kyle Filipowski tweeted some too, which, by the way, he's coming back. He's going to be an S-tier villain. Looking forward to it.
He already attacked my shooting guard. I don't know if he's chirping Caleb Love, Michigan Wolverine legend now. So I have beef with Kyle Filipowski.
It's also the first time a Blue Devil hasn't made all ACC first team since 2006-07.
That's Coach K gone straight up. Like if Coach K is the coach of that team, Kyle Filipowski is like the second leading vote getter.
Yes,
he's player of the year.
Yeah,
he's player of the year if Coach K's around.
Weirdly enough, Alex, like obviously the correct answer was your answer, but like I want to give you a D+ for that. Like that's like you were wrong, even though you were right here. I don't feel good about that.
But I don't know. Blame the ACC beat writers. I'm
gonna
should be blamed.
I'm probably gonna give you like an A- B+, because like yes, you were correct, but like you shouldn't have been.
I get that. I get that. I'll take the A-, but
A- is too generous.
Okay, all right. B+.
Let's settle in on B+.
Okay. Fine.
Let's keep it moving.
All right, moving to our, I guess collectively our favorite conference, the Big Ten. Greg, you had.
Some days it's the least favorite, but
that's true. That's fair.
I'm so scared right now, boys.
Greg, so yours was a twofer. You had Chris Murray as a first-team All-American and a top 5 draft pick.
Oof. Yeah, I mean that's just a miss.
Hey, listen, that one's still being written though. So if somebody wants to do something crazy, bail Greg out, take Chris Murray in the top 5.
So had some injuries.
Yes.
Had some injuries. I'm not saying like had he been fully healthy, he does fulfill that prophecy, but like
he was an All-American, just not first team.
I do think he was clearly injured for long stretches of this season, and I think that had an effect. I still like Chris Murray. Like what? First round, probably first round mock guy. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like late first, early second.
I won't fight for that one hard. That was a miss.
I mean, I'll throw you a C- because like he was honestly better than I thought he would be. So I was very not on the Chris Murray train entering the year. So I'll eat crow on that and I'll give you a C-.
I'm fine with that. That seems
cool.
acceptable. Yeah. So Carl, you had. So I want to say this take is correct, but then you added something else on after the fact.
That made it incorrect?
Not really. You said there would be one Sweet 16 team from the Big Ten, which, yes.
Yes.
And then you were like, it'll be Illinois.
Oh,
man.
That's tough.
First of all, I just want to go on record. I don't know what I said at the time. I don't like that take, Carl. I think that's too broad of a take. Like, we'll get one team from the conference to the second weekend. Like,
you did say that about several. You said, I remember you said conference tournament. If you're ironically enough, that's my next take. But you said if you pick a team to win the conference tournament, that's a cop out because anything can happen in 4 days.
Boys, that's a soft take. That's just a soft take.
Listen, that was said 5 months ago too. So.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad. I'm consistent in that. For that reason, I'll go B- for Carl. I mean, that's like you nailed the take. It's a correct take, but that's one of the easier takes I've ever heard taken on a podcast.
I liked B, but
I'll go B. B's fine.
Okay.
I mean, you think like people are hyping up like that fraudulent Indiana team as like a Final Four team. Like Michigan State's always in the mix.
But like,
I think there was legitimately a world where more than one got to the Sweet 16.
Was the take meant to stick your neck out against the people who are like the narrative that the Big Ten is bad in the tournament? Like, were you like disrupting that take with this take? Because if that was your intention, like the Big Ten still sucks in the tournament.
Yeah.
Like we essentially did the worst we could have as a conference in the tournament. But like this take still is a win. I just don't think it was that hard of a take to take.
No, I get that. And honestly, I mean, Greg, I'm taking notes for next year. I'm going to have spicier takes. I'm going to do my best. I mean, there's a reason we had you on for the hot takes. Like we need to have something to measure against. So
I'm causing chaos. Well, I'm here to – my usage rate is through the roof. My efficiency is low. I'm Caleb.
Yeah.
So my take was – got to try to find it. My take was, again, the cop-out. My take was Rutgers wins the Big Ten tournament, which didn't happen.
They won a game.
Didn't remotely come close.
A game.
They were – I'm not even trying – like they were a completely different team, obviously without Moat Mag when he went down. Paul Mulcahy had injuries all year. I thought that dude was going to make like an all Big Ten team. That did not happen. So, you know, maybe Dylan Harper will get them there, and Ace Bailey will get them there in 2 years. But
they're going to be good. They're going to be really good.
But
did Pike will get that lifetime contract that he was rumored to get?
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's well deserved. Like to make Rutgers like a legitimate factor is like crazy. That's insane.
Yeah. Rutgers is relevant and they're fun. That's absurd. He's also like, I pulled the exact number on this. I forget what it is now, but I'm pretty sure he's like 6-1 against Matt Painter in his last 7 games. That's just an absurd head-to-head stat for like Rutgers. Like Purdue's been awesome, like Michael just owns them. So I know I shit on the concept of that take at the time, Alex, but I think it was more so just that seems like an incredibly hard thing to predict. So I don't, looking back on it at the end of the year, I don't hate the concept of like, oh, Rutgers. I don't hate that. It's not a bad take. Just a very like luck induced take.
It truly is.
Yeah.
So I get.
I mean, at the end of the day, they only won. They beat Michigan, and that's it, right?
Yeah, and then they lost to Purdue.
Oh, so yeah. I mean, that's like a D.
That's a D.
Yeah. I was gonna give myself an F, so I'll take the D.
It's a D because they won a game.
And also, like Greg said, I like the idea of Rutgers. Like, if you said Wisconsin, then that would have been an F-. Like, not only did Wisconsin not do anything, I also just don't like the idea of Wisconsin. So,
wholeheartly agree. I'm super mad at myself that I didn't go Zach Edey, National Player of the Year, for my take in the Big Ten because, like, that was a take of mine in the offseason. And I'm pretty sure right before we recorded this episode, like Carter and I recorded a hot takes episode, and my 2 predictions were Chris Murray and Zach Edey. And I picked the wrong one for this episode, boys. Yeah. That's going to sting for a while.
It's okay. You gotta move. And fortunately, we have another conference. So I guess I'll give mine first because, Greg, you co-opted mine. I was the last to go in the Big 12. You co-opted mine. My take was that Kansas – loses in the round of 64 as a top 3 seed.
I love that.
Didn't happen. Obviously, a first weekend exit to Arkansas, lost by a point.
Essentially happened.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like 14 seed, 8 seed. Yeah, who's here or there? I think the ethos of that take was essentially right. I'll give that like a B+.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that. Greg, for what it's worth, your original take was that Kansas was a bubble team.
Oh, brutal.
So I guess you also by default get a B+.
I mean, yeah, that's a good pivot. That's a good pivot, is what that is.
With the pivot, I agree.
By proxy, yeah, that was a good in episode pivot.
I guess you're right. Yeah. I'll take it.
Carl, you had Trey Mitchell. It makes an all-conference team.
That didn't happen, did it?
No,
didn't think so.
I don't think he got a vote.
Okay. I'm blaming Brian Ralph for that. He came on here for our what episode was that? Was that the Big 12 episode?
It was like 4 days prior to us recording the Hot Takes episode. Like
it was like fresh on my mind, and like he couldn't stay for the whole thing. And as he's leaving, he's like, because we hadn't gotten to West Virginia yet. So we're like, Brian, you have anything to say on the way out? And he's like, West Virginia is going to be way better than people expect. And then just
were.
And that was it. And they were better than people expected, but I was influenced, I will say, on that take. And not even. Did you say he didn't even get a vote? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think he got a vote.
That's just an F. Like,
okay.
That's just an F.
That's our first F today.
To not even get a vote, like that has to be an F.
All right, moving.
Wasn't even honorable mention. Like,
I don't believe so. I will confirm as I read this next one.
All right.
Moving to the SEC, Greg, your take was that Florida wins the conference.
Yikes.
Oof.
Yeah, I fell for the Todd Golden thing, I think. I will say credit to me. I'm going to give myself some credit. Midway through November, I sold all my Florida stock. So there was probably a 2-week period I was a Golden believer. And then as soon as I realized I was wrong there, I correctly identified I was wrong quickly. But that's an F. I think, like, I don't even want deliberation. I think that's an F, boys.
I mean, anytime I saw Florida was playing, and I would be constantly refreshing my Twitter feed, waiting for your daily picks video where you faded Florida. I mean,
it got personal with me and Golden after a while, man, because I still think that roster was pretty damn good, but like for months at a time, Todd Golden just like didn't have them run a play at all. Like, I'm dead serious. I'm not kidding. Like, unless it was like an out of bounds set, like he straight up didn't have them run offense for months at a time, and then their season played out like it did. Like, I'm selling all Golden stock at this point. I don't know that he's going to have a roster as talented as the one he had last year. And I think he's kind of a gimmicky coach.
Yeah. I truthfully never understood like the hype there. He was like a 500 coach in his career in the WCC. It's not like he ever won anything. So I never like totally understood. He did just get,
are we buying into the hype now? With all the offseason portal additions?
No,
I'm not.
Okay, not falling for the same trap.
Well, also, like, I think these portal additions are worse than last year's portal additions. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but like, you guys can probably tell if I haven't made this clear enough. I'm not a believer in up transfers from the mid-major level unless it's like the perfect player, perfect situation. Like Sully Boom worked, that was dope, and I wouldn't even necessarily consider that like a lower level transfer, I guess, but like, I don't know, like Ivy League dudes, all these dudes that are like, they're super productive 23-year-olds at a smaller level, and now they're going to the SEC. I don't think that works.
Yeah.
It's fair.
I mean, there were quite a few really good up transfers this year, though. Like Demoy Hodge, he was great.
In what context, though? Like, he was great in the confines of like Missouri. Right?
I mean, that's a tournament team. They won a game in the tournament. It's not like a bad team.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ricky Council.
They lost by 30 to Princeton.
Not Ricky Council. Wait, is Ricky Council an up transfer? Who am I thinking of?
I wouldn't count Council as an up transfer, just because like Wichita State solid. But
okay. Shireman.
Yeah.
What was your take on Shireman before the season? Did you like that or not?
I liked Shireman specifically because like he had a very clear skill set that was like he didn't need to be more than he was in the middle of everybody else on Creighton. Like, I don't like dudes where it's like, okay, we need you to be more than you were at the mid-major level for Florida now. Like, I don't think that works.
Yeah. And we'll get to some Creighton takes because there were some.
Hey,
Carl, your SEC take was that Tennessee wins the conference.
Nice.
Where did they finish?
I think
Second?
Third,
Third, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a solid take. Like,
yeah.
I would say they overachieved from what we might have expected.
Oh, definitely from what we expected.
Feels like a B. Feels like a B to me.
Be solid.
All right.
I don't know if it's egregious, but I totally bought into the Must Bucks this year. I had Arkansas making the Final Four, which Sweet 16, but squeaks by Kansas, gets throttled in the worst game of the Sweet 16.
I don't hate it because like after the Kansas game, it was like
Brazil got injured. Like,
it was, here we go, he's doing it again. Here goes Eric Musselman. But I mean, they finished what, two wins short, 3 wins short.
But and Brazil got injured early in the season, which obviously affected the ceiling. And Nick Smith was just never could get healthy. But again, made the Sweet 16, like didn't get any further than that.
I think it's a B.
Really? Okay.
I would put it in line with Carl's Tennessee take. I think the ethos behind it was good. Like, at the end of the day, like, Arkansas was playing really well and was close. Like, I would consider what they did a tournament run. Like, they upset a 1 seed. So that's sort of in line with where you were going for.
They look good in Maui, so
yeah. I was really feeling it when they were in Maui.
Yeah.
All right.
Was this thing more about Muss or was it more about Arkansas, though?
My take?
Yeah, because that might change my grade here. If it's about Arkansas, it's a B. If it's about Muss, like, the dude just takes his shirt off.
Okay, so Greg, I can't lie to you. Carl and I had a moment like during the 2021-22 regular season. Muss liked one of our tweets.
Okay.
And that was like that definitely boosted a little bit, but I was more so buying into like Anthony Black, Nick Smith being just an elite backcourt.
Okay.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's funny.
That's a B. That's a B take. Okay. But also, like, boys, I want better for you than being wowed by like Muss liking one of your tweets. Like, we might have to have a little conversation on the side.
No, we can, but like that was big. We had like
that was early on.
We had like 60 followers.
Yeah.
On the account. Like
Muss is a tweet flirt though. Like Muss is liking every account's tweets.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
No,
it probably wasn't even him, honestly. He's probably got some staff member on his Twitter.
But he's not taking his shirt off for just you guys.
You're right.
Yeah, you're right.
I
will say, Greg, I don't know if this has been your experience, just like a quick side tangent. We get a lot of like, anytime we mention a player, like we'll get parents liking our tweets.
Ooh.
I don't know if that's happened to you, but we get like, I mean, it feels like every week during the season, we get a random parent of a player liking one of our tweets.
I've seen that here and there. I think what we do is probably a little more like critical.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Like, half the shit we clip is probably us like trashing a player. So we probably would try to avoid that somehow. But there have been, when we did a lot of interviews last season, and whenever we did, we got a lot of parent interaction. That was fun.
Okay.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, moving out west quickly. Greg, you had Arizona winning the league by 3 games.
It's another F, boys.
But they won the tournament. They won the tournament. I want to give you credit for that, though.
They did win the tournament.
For the second straight year.
I picked Arizona to win it all this year, and they lost to Princeton. So, like,
Same.
From before the season to the end of the season, I was duped by this team, and I still think they were the best team in the Pac-12. Like, if they're lining up with UCLA right now, I'm picking them every single time I get the opportunity to. But they didn't do more than that, though, and that hurts.
They didn't.
Yeah, just by virtue of the fact that you bought into a Kirk Risa team I think I gotta lay down the hammer here. I'm gonna give you probably an F on this.
It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair.
All
Nothing
right.
ever hurt me more than when Kirk Reese passed up that baseline jumper, by the way. Like, season on the line, he's wide open. He's been a bad shot selection guy his whole career, and he can't shoot when all they need him to do is shoot. Like, that broke my heart, man. He was clearly broken.
Yeah, like that's part of the allure of Kirk Reese is the unconscious shooting, meaning like he just turns his brain off and shoots.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Carl, you had the Bruins clear. This is an exact quote: clearing the Pac-12 by multiple games, and they're the only ranked team entering the tournament.
Oh yeah, that didn't happen.
They did clear the Pac-12 by 4 games, for what it's worth.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you stopped halfway through, that's an A+.
That's my issue. I just say too much.
It's a good take. I mean,
yeah.
I guess I don't really blame. Like, everybody outside of Arizona was not ranked, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that at the very least a B+, A- territory.
I think it's A- on like the fact that you called UCLA winning by 3+ games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm never going to penalize being bold, Carl. I like that.
Exactly. So,
because this was the point in the episode where Greg had gotten on us a couple times for like just the most generic take. So then that's when we started like being really elaborate with it and trying to figure out how to make it more specific.
And this was an unfortunate preface for my take because I think I went first for this conference because mine was not bold in the slightest. I said Cal.
Big East.
Nope, this is still Pac-12. I said Cal would win no more than 2 conference games, which came true, but also it's Cal.
No, that's an A+. That's like, it's very hard to only win 2 conference games.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
A+.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take it.
Good job, boys. Look, you guys are hitting your stride midway through the episode. I like it.
Thank you. Okay, Big East. Greg, you had Creighton finishes the regular season as the number 1 team in the country.
That's bold.
It was scalding.
It's on brand. Yeah, I still before you guys give me a grade, can I give my little
of course,
tat on Creighton here?
Yeah.
I still I feel like had Cal not missed a month of the season, there is a non-zero chance that they were like a 1 seed. Like, it pretty much outside of Cal, they performed like a top 6 team in the country. So the Big East was a gauntlet more than we realized. Like, UConn looks like the best team in the country, and they finished 4th in the Big East. That's pretty absurd looking back on it. Like, Marquette was really good. Xavier was really good. All these teams were really good. But I don't know. I feel like it's going to seem like that was a lot further off than it actually was.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think I'm going to dip into your terminology a little bit here, and I'm going to say I think the ethos behind that take was very, very good. Just because they had high expectations entering the season, and ultimately I think they delivered on that. Like, they ended up in the Elite Eight with a real chance to go to the Final Four. And then, we're looking at this team way differently. Like, maybe at that point, Ryan Nembhard isn't in the transfer portal. I don't know. I like it. I'll throw a B your way because I really don't hate that. And I see the vision with the Kalkbrenner injury took him out. So
I love these Blue Jays. So I can throw you a B-, I think is acceptable.
I'll take a B-, boy. Because I'm trying to think pre-Calc, they were what, in the Maui final, and they lost to Arizona, and that was
6 straight, including the Arizona loss. And then I think they lost 6 games in the Big East.
Yeah, just forget that Calc was healthy when they lost to Nebraska, and I'll be in on it.
Okay. All right, Carl, another one of those conference tournament takes. You had UConn winning the Big East tournament. Just turns out you took the wrong tournament.
Yeah, honestly. I'll get on my soapbox here for a second and just say that I clarified a lot of my thoughts on UConn in our Big East preview, I think. And I was very high on, I saw the vision with UConn. And so that's and I remember in the Hot Takes episode specifically, I said, I think this is a team that starts to hit their stride around March. And that was, I think, spot on. They didn't win the conference tournament though. So in terms of like the letter of the law, that was not correct. So
yeah, I remember you saying that. And for that reason, I'm going to give you a B+. I feel like that's about as high as I can go with an objectively false take.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the right concept.
Fair enough.
We're throwing out a lot of B+, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's okay.
I do like that we have a B+ on an objectively false take and a B+ on an objectively true take, though. This is good.
Just that's going to – when we look back at this later and we're like, how in the world did we get these grades for just being wrong? I mean, that's just the beauty of this. So
no, it truly is. I had a similar like kind of scope on mine that Greg did. So I had Creighton losing no more than 3 conference games. That did not happen. I think they lost 6. But I was really high on them. I was suffering around late November, early December when they were sliding. Very worried, but I don't know. I don't want to like regurgitate what Greg said, but this was a different team, and the Big East was a gauntlet. I picked the wrong team. I don't really know.
I think the problem with that take is just the Big East was way better than we realized.
Yeah.
Which makes it, it's hard to grade that a win just because, like, in order for Creighton to win 3, that would imply implicitly some of the Big East is pretty easy. Like, even if Creighton was what we thought they weren't going to go like 17-3 with UConn and with Xavier and with Marquette. Yep. So that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if Marquette had sucked like everybody thought they would, then we'd be looking at this differently. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, what did you give me for my Georgia Tech take? Do you have that recorded?
A C-. All
right, and then we gave. I mean, I'd bump you up to like a C+, B- probably.
I'm going C. Let's meet in the middle. C+.
Let's go C. Yeah, let's go C+.
C+.
Okay. All right. This is where we kind of got I went a little wild. Like I really elaborated on mine, but I'll start with Greg's. This is the mid-majors. You had Gonzaga exiting in the round of 32.
Okay.
Not a bad take.
Yeah, it's not horrible. I'm trying. They were Elite 8, right? That was the UConn.
Yeah,
it was.
I would feel better about that take had it been Sweet 16 and I was one round. I will also say by the end of the season, I picked Gonzaga to go to the national championship game. So I clearly swung around on that team by the end of the year. I don't know. I think preseason I was probably more accurate than I was end of season on them. Like I think my biggest reason for hating them was I didn't trust their guards at all. Yeah. And like losing Andrew Nembhard was going to matter way more than they thought it would. And I think in the end that was essentially true. I still don't get why they didn't play Malachi Smith more. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I kind of just like I fell for it in March of like they're way under the radar, and there's something good about Mark Few being under the radar. So I don't know. I don't know where you guys want to grade that, but 2 rounds off is too many to get a good grade, I feel like.
I do like a C because like in fairness, they were down 14 at halftime to UCLA, charge all the way back, and then surrender another double-digit lead, almost lose to them in like an amazing game, get blown out by UConn in the Elite 8. They were like back and forth with TCU in that round of 32 game for basically the entire. So like I don't think it's like I'd even go up to like a C+ because like I don't think like you predicted their shortcomings, and then it blew up just 2 rounds later.
They weren't that far off from losing to TCU. That's true.
Correct. So like C+.
They did give up the dumbest cover of all time in that game. So
that was wild. I also had TCU +5 in that game or whatever it was. It was
congrats.
Awesome.
I can do like B- or C+ probably.
Yeah. I mean, because I get like I think you mentioned not trusting the guards. You had very good reason not to trust the guards. And I think for a lot of the season, they did prove you correct as to why you shouldn't really trust them. I'd agree with Alex. I think that's probably fair. Because I'll go C+. 2 rounds off is a little much for me. So
I'll take that.
Right. Carl, your take was also in Spokane. You had Drew Timme winning National Player of the Year.
Oh.
Which it's like, listen, I'll advocate a little bit for you here. It's a little tough when there's like a consensus National Player of the Year. However, Drew Timme, first team All-American, I believe.
Huh. Yeah, but also what world though was he not going to be a first team All-American? Like what would have to happen for him not to be first team All-American?
It's true.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. This might be harsh, but I'm thinking like a D- for this.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
So here's the main reason why is I don't like there's not a category anywhere across the list that like Drew Timme was better than Zach Edey at. Like Zach Edey was just that good, and like it's big man versus big man. Zach Edey's clearly National Player of the Year. Like I guess if you want to step back and say like, oh, he was like one of the top 5 players in the country, that's not far off. That's true.
Yeah, but we already knew that, so I'm not going to take credit for that.
Yeah, it's like the take was Player of the Year, and like Edey was just so much better than Timme.
Yeah. I'll take that. Like I'll
do
take
a
that.
D, just because I feel bad, but I'm fine with either grade. I mean, I'm just
D- might have been a little harsh. Let's go like. Can we go D+? Can we go D+?
That's fine. That's a good middle ground. We can be very harsh on my take right now. Okay. So I had a 3-pronged approach. I'd really taken Greg's like elaborate and do something bold to heart. So I went just full blown like Darius McGee is going to go scorched earth. Liberty would win the Cancun Challenge, which like that November multi-team event in Mexico, would beat Northwestern and then beat Auburn. Would win the ASUN and then would beat a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament, which they didn't win the Cancun Challenge. They didn't win the ASUN, neither the regular season nor the conference tournament. And, of course, they didn't make the NCAA tournament. So I think we all know what this is.
That's enough.
My problem is I want to give that like a C+ because I still absolutely love that take.
But okay, F it is.
I just think it's so funny that one of your takes involved the Cancun Challenge. Like that's so funny.
I had to bust it out, man. I had to bust it out. All right, into our favorite team category. Greg, you had Doug McDaniel will be the starting point guard by the NCAA tournament.
Come on, boys.
It's impressive.
Come on.
That's good.
Yeah, I would like to reiterate that I think that genuinely happens even if Llewellyn was healthy. Because that's going to be like a hang the banner, like moral victory that he got hurt. And that's why that happened. But like Llewellyn was absolutely horrible for like a month before he got hurt. And Doug was already starting to cut into his minutes. So I think that was trending right even before it was right.
Sure. You guys riffed on Ivy League guys on your recent episode a little bit.
A little bit, man. Like, it's just where, like, the heart of my I don't trust up transfers comes from. But it's just, like, even the best mid-major transfer Michigan got was Mike Smith, who was awesome as the 5th option on a loaded team with NBA guys everywhere. And, like, I just think it's really hard to – like, Llewellyn was essentially the most accomplished Ivy League guy in, like, 5 years. And he just was so – out of his mind at Michigan. Like he just wasn't close to being prepared for what they needed him to do. And part of the problem was they needed him to do a lot more than was fair to ask of him. But I mean, like Doug McDaniel's nothing special. I would take a bullet for him, but he's not like a basketball player. And like he was clearly more well prepared than a 24-year-old Jalen Llewellyn was from the get-go. So I don't know. Weird year, man. Weird year.
But that's definitely an A+.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, you know a thing or two about Ivy League up transfers. Patrick Tope.
I do. I'm not gonna speak on that.
Man,
that's a rough name to hear out loud. I'm not gonna lie.
It really is. I guarantee you, Northwestern will get someone in the immediate future. Maybe not this year, but Ivy League transfers. It's a pool. It's like NEPSAC high school wise. Like that's all. It's the only spot Northwestern can recruit.
I think be appealing for an extra Pete Nance here. Try to get him back.
No. No. Ran from the grind, man. Ran from the grind.
We respect guys who run from the grind here. Well, not here. This is the Gym and Range podcast. On Sleepers podcast, we love guys who run from the grind. We're big fans of that.
Can't get behind that. Can't get behind that.
On the Gym Range podcast, we run from the grind so other guys don't have to. So
there you go. Clip that. Clip that. Carl, your take for favorite team was that Maryland wins 2 games in the Big Ten tourney.
We won 1.
You did.
We were better than people expected. I will say that.
You made that close against Indiana too. Like that was a game.
We should have beat. I hate that stupid Indiana team. We should have beat that team. I just got so much abuse in the preseason and like early in the season for not thinking that they were going to do anything, and lo and behold, they didn't do anything. But yeah, I don't know. They didn't win 2 games. They won 1, and like winning 1 is like, imagine if that was my take, like how stupid of a take that would have been. So I'm gonna say like D. I mean, I think that's like a D plus. Like,
but Maryland was supposed to suck.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I like this take. Like also the fact that you won 1 in the tournament after, like the actual NCAA tournament, kind of merged with this for me a little bit because I would not have expected you to get a tourney win. Yeah. So I don't know what the highest the precedent we've set has been.
It's B plus.
It's B plus.
Nah, don't give me B plus.
I was gonna say B minus.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Also,
like you go to your teacher and you'll like ask for a higher grade. I'm asking for a lower grade on that.
Also, up transfer Jameer Young. I feel like we should mention that.
Shout out Jameer Young. Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a nice counterpoint.
All right.
Transfer Patrick Emilian and his 20% shooting from 3. Nice guy though. Really like him, but can't shoot. So
all right, I'm gonna preface this. I hit this one out of the park. I don't think I could have had a better take. Boo Buie will make an all Big Ten second team. Chase Audiche makes all defensive team.
Was he second team?
Yes.
He wasn't first team.
No.
Shame on our voters. That's
right. I believe. Okay, so here's the thing. In the
Big Ten, out for first team.
In the Big Ten's media release, he is a second team. It is a 6-person second team. Both he and Audiche are on it. Buie was first team media, second team coaches. I think if I am remembering correctly.
I'm trying to. So the consensus first teams were Edey, TJD, Murray, Pickett, and Shannon.
Yeah.
And so Buie, because there was a 6th guy on one of them. It was Buie on one of them. Okay. I mean, that's a great take. Obviously, fantastic take. Yeah, that's an A at worst. If Buie was first team though, then you're an A, not an A plus, because the take was second team.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the Big Ten makes it weird because they have like the coaches team and the media team, and that just kind of muddies the waters a little bit. I will say you got redemption from your take last season where you had Chase Audiche making an all-conference team, and that one did not age nearly as well as this one.
Correct. 2 polar opposites.
Yeah.
In many respects. But
yeah, that's a great take though. That's a
really good take. Yeah.
Can I give myself an A plus, or is that?
Yeah. Take an A plus. Take an A plus. You deserve it. You Northwestern people deserve, some good things after years of suffering. So
that means a lot.
Just take the A plus. Yeah.
Our penultimate category was preseason top 25 team to miss the tournament.
Wait, I have a quick note here.
Yes.
Didn't something happen during our preseason hot takes episode where you gave that take about Boo Buie and Greg co-signed it?
So I was going to get to that. Greg had a bonus take that I was going to put under miscellaneous, but Greg's take was that Boo would make an all Big Ten team, but that was like Greg's like 11th. I was going to give him 2 miscellaneous, but I can put it
so that's like his extra credit take though.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get to that then.
Okay. So, but preseason top 25 team to miss the tournament, both Greg and Carl said the same team, Villanova.
Nice.
Bingo. Nail on the head.
Good work, Carl.
Yeah, A+ easily. I mean, they fell apart at the seams.
And they weren't just preseason top 25. Like they were like 15 for some people.
Yeah, they were.
I
had 2 from what I see.
I had Duke, wasn't it?
It was Duke and Auburn. It was Duke and Auburn.
Auburn was kind of close.
I like the Auburn take, honestly.
Auburn was close, and there were points in the season where I thought, wow, Duke is struggling. But they were never really like not a tournament team. So
yeah, ACC was too bad. Like they were just gonna rack up wins.
Yeah.
But I mean those aren't bad. Those are like middle of the pack, I feel like not bad misses by any means.
Yeah, I'll give you like a C-, mostly on the strength of Auburn. Like the Duke one didn't do you any favors there.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't. I should have just stuck with Auburn, but alas, added on. All right, last category, miscellaneous. Greg, we're gonna finish it off here. I guess 2. You had Boo makes all Big Ten team, which is an A+.
Yeah.
The first one, I guess technically, was Michigan State loses 15 regular season games, which I guess you weren't that far off, right? 12, 11?
I think it was 12. Well, 11 or 12. I don't know.
I'll check. Alex, you can keep talking.
Big difference between 11 and 12 there. Yeah, listen. They overachieved in the non-con to me. I think they were on the path I needed them to be in conference play in order for that to happen. And the Big Ten was way worse than I expected it to be. So with that said, like where that take lost was they beat Kentucky for the Champions Classic. They went, I think, 2-1 in the PK event instead of 1-2. Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately they were a much better team than I anticipated. So I think that's like a D at best.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Maybe a D+, but I think it's 11 because they obviously lost in the Big Ten tournament. And lost
it was 11.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Might have to be D there.
Was it 11 regular season or 11 with the tournament losses?
11 regular season. Because
11
I think Michigan State 13.
Tournament losses.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's 4 off. I can literally circle moments on the schedule where I'm like, they should have lost this game. I'm still bitter about it, man. I'm still bitter.
All right, Carl, yours was at least 2 teams from Texas make the Final Four. Obviously, no teams from Texas.
0 teams from Texas. I mean, wasn't there like 1 in the Elite 8?
Texas was in the Elite 8.
Like it wasn't even like remotely close. It's not like there were all these teams knocking at the door like I kind of thought there would be.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, and the thing that really tanked that take too is that I mean Houston, Texas, and Texas A&M were all in the same region in the tournament. So like even just there was a very limited possibility already, and then I mean there was just no way.
Yeah,
I'm comfortable taking the F for that. Like there was only 1 in the Elite 8 and none in the Final Four, so
that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how you skirt it. Just because
just bad.
Well, even because they lost games they were slated to win is part of the problem, right? Like the take was there on paper, but the teams didn't deliver.
Right.
F feels harsh. F feels harsh. Maybe a D. Maybe D.
D? Okay. D. My take, listen, this could spark an argument. I don't know. No blue blood makes the Final Four. I don't think anyone did. The argument now is that UConn is a blue blood from some because they have the 5 natties.
When did that become the threshold? I honestly think I would have considered them one before this, but
really?
Yeah.
Because when we outlined it in the Hot Takes episode, it was UCLA, Kentucky, UNC, Duke, Kansas. Those were the blue bloods.
I'm sure I heartily agreed with that at the time. So
This
is definitely a hypocritical take. So It's a tough one because like they are a blue blood now, so apparently they're I don't know if it really matters who the blue bloods are, but for the purposes of this, it does.
So I think it just comes down to, are we counting UConn as a blue blood or not? And I still think there's an argument against them being a blue blood, but I wouldn't make the argument. Like 5 titles in 25 years is stupid. It's just insane. Like under ridiculous. 3 coaches, it's ridiculous. So I would categorize them as a blue blood, which would mean I'm categorizing this take as a loss.
However, can I say that they became a blue blood because they won the 5th title? Like, I mean,
they had to make the Final Four to get there. Like,
yeah, but when they made the Final Four,
they were a blue blood. Okay, sure.
Blue blood.
I mean, I'll give you.
We're not grading the take when they made the Final Four, though. We're grading the take now. Like, when
I know.
Look back at last year's Final Four. Was there a blue blood in it?
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah, but they were all blue bloods before they made that tournament. I think there's a difference. I think there's a slight difference.
I'll give you like a C- or a C.
I get a C for this take?
Yeah. I'll go C+ because of how well you're arguing for your take. But
this is crazy. I get a C+ for being right.
There's a blue blood. UConn's a blue blood.
They weren't when they got there, though. They weren't, though. And when we outlined what a blue blood was when I made the take, they weren't included in that list. And so I was like, okay.
Oh, wait, actually, okay. Are we saying, did we make the list before the take?
Yes, you asked me Greg, you explicitly said, who are your blue bloods? And I said, Kentucky, UNC, Kansas, Duke, UCLA. And y'all wholeheartedly agreed that's the list. And I was like, sweet.
The take at the time was none of these 5 teams will make the Final Four.
I said, yeah, on the backs of 2 blue bloods making the 3 blue bloods making the Final Four, no blue blood will make it this year.
Okay, actually, yeah, that's a great take. That's a great take. Upon further review, we went to video evidence, and the ruling on the field has been overturned. I give that an A.
We definitely needed a replay here. This is when replay should be used in college basketball.
I give that an A. I don't give it an A+ because UConn is now a blue blood, but I give it an A.
That's fine.
I'll bump it up to a B for me. I mean,
Carl, come on.
They're a blue, like from where we're standing right now, UConn is a blue blood. And when we look back on the Final Four, we're not going to say like, oh, UConn, well, they weren't a blue blood at the time they made the Final Four. We're just going to say, oh, a blue blood made the Final Four.
But we're using all this calculus for all these other takes. Like, I can't use calculus here and like say what we define it as.
No.
I think you listed out the teams. That makes a difference for me. Like, none of those teams made the Final Four. If that was the take, that's an A take.
I mean, I did. We defined it as blue blood.
No, that's fair. But the take was quote unquote.
The take was no blue blood makes the Final Four. Alex, what's a blue blood? Name the blue bloods. I said Duke, UNC, UCLA, Kentucky, Kansas.
And the list is different now.
But in fairness, none of those 5 teams made the tournament.
All right, fine. All right, you wore me down. I'll give you. I mean, it's still like a B+ though. It's not. I'm not going as high as that.
I get a B+ for doing like a 17-year prediction correctly, and then oh. Jeez.
All right. Is that it?
Yeah, that's all of them.
All right, nice. We'll figure out the GPA and we'll post it in a fun little graphic and we'll see how we did. But big thank you to Greg for hopping on this episode. Appreciate it that you took the time. Is there anything that you would like to plug on the way out?
No, fellas, this is always a blast. I'm genuinely a big fan of what you guys do. I'm glad, I got to run into Alex a couple times this year along the journey of all our road trips. And
indeed,
always a blast. We had a fun night in Evanston that one night. So, if I'm plugging anything, it's plugging what y'all are doing. The Jimmer Range, the podcast that deserves more listeners. So, if you enjoyed this episode, hopefully you enjoy more episodes from these fine gentlemen because they're crushing it.
Thank you.
Big thank you. Appreciate that. You can find all of our social handles on the bottom, us and Greg included, just scrolling on the ticker down there. Big thank you to everybody who is watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify. Make sure you give us a subscribe or a follow, depending on the platform. It's going to do it for us. See you next time.